Art without honesty lacks credibility. The greatest artists manage to shed a bit of their soul, and in doing so, give us their greatest gifts. Tonight's artist is following in those footsteps as she digs deep into both her life experiences and the challenges of the world to give us a raw, unfiltered voice demanding to be heard. Tangina Stone's introspective journey of self-exploration has culminated into the release of her debut full-length album, and tonight, her lustrous vocals will bring us to our deeper and better selves. I'm your host, Jodine Dorsey, and stay right where you are because Tangina Stone is here to give us a piece of her soul, right here on B-Side.
I'm so insecure, all I need is more, more. I'm so insecure, all I need is more, more. Confidence, yeah, confidence. Confidence, yeah, confidence. Are you blowing up a big house on a hill? Heard you just got a deal, but haven't heard your songs on the radio. Are you taking chances? Do they give you advances? Tell me how it goes. See, you're so far away from home, you gotta feel alone in a city that's so cold. Tell me how it goes. Why you so? Why you're so insecure? All you need is more, more. You're so insecure. All you need is more, more. Confidence, confidence. All I need is more, more. confidence, yeah, confidence. All you need is more confidence, yeah, confidence. Gina, thank you. Thank you.
Tangina, you are incredible.
Thank you so much.
Tell me, you're from Canton, Ohio.
Yes.
How was it growing up in Canton? I mean, when I think about the Midwest, I don't think of an artist like you coming out of there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, growing up in Canton was interesting, was great. I mean, Canton has a lot to do with who I am. It's a really tough, small city to live in. It's a really dangerous small city to grow up in. But yeah, I feel like Canton is a place where people feel very defeated. And so it was very difficult for me to not feel that way all the time. And I think just like constantly being reminded of like how powerful that I was, how talented that I was, and then also kept in check to work really hard for everything that I have now is what really got me here. I had, oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I had really great mentors. I had a woman named Joy who's like an older sister to me. I had teachers in high school that were on me about my grades, and like one who literally drove me to New York, brought me to New York to go to Tisch School of the Arts for an orientation so that I could go to school here. So I had people who believed in me, and not a lot of people had that where I grew up.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
So did you start off in school, like performing arts school? Like how did you enter that artistic world as a child?
So I started writing songs when I was 4. My grandfather's the only person that I knew when I was younger, at least, that created music, and he taught me a lot. He showed me a lot of music that like a lot of kids my age didn't know about. I knew everything about the Chitlin Circuit and Motown and Michael Jackson, and then like my mother's side of the family like taught me a lot about Stevie Nicks and rock and roll, you know, like Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles, and so just like having that and being an old soul, like ever since I was a kid, really like helped a lot with and also like filtered through my own music and inspired my own music. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot the first part of your question. What was the first part?
No. But so who were some of the, outside of like the Eagles, who else were you listening to? Who were you mimicking in the shower when you were like, I'm gonna be a star?
As a kid, Lauryn Hill. I mean, I remember like, I have a photographic memory, so I remember everything in kind of like pictures. And I just remember myself like in my car seat as a kid, in the back of my mom's car, singing Killing Me Softly. And singing, instead of saying softly, salty was the way. Killing me salty.
You gotta remake it.
Yeah, so like, I remember those moments, yeah. But I mean, yeah, Canton, I have a lot of love for Canton. That's actually the first place I'm gonna go after I release my album. Nice. And I just feel like going back home is really important because it's like, when I was younger, if people like Macy Gray didn't come home where I grew up, I don't think I would have been as inspired as I am now to do as well as I'm doing, you know? It takes seeing someone from your town making it to actually believe that you can sometimes. And so that's what it was for me. There were a lot of people who didn't believe that like me being here was even possible. Yeah. But I am. And it took a lot of time and a lot of people just supporting me, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Because like I said, a lot of people didn't have a support system that I did, and I didn't grow up with much. It's not like I had like this huge family that was like, you know, I didn't grow up in a performance art school. I went to public schools my entire life, moved around a lot, didn't have a lot of money, didn't have much, but I had people at my schools who believed in me.
Nice.
A lot.
Nice.
And who taught me music in ways that were not traditional. But people who believed in me, that means something.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the next 2 songs that you're about to perform, tell us about those 2 songs.
So the next song I think we're doing is Anxious, right? And then what's the one after that? Elevate. Okay, so Anxious. Anxious is about my own struggle with my anxiety. I've had anxiety since I was a kid, and I remember being a kid and like my father's family is a Southern Black family, and so I remember being a kid and like trying to explain, trying to verbalize, articulate what I was feeling all the time. Which was just anxiety, and I would tell them that, I would explain when I would go through bouts of depression, and everyone just like, oh, you tripping, calm down. And I feel like it's a stigma sometimes within the Black community. Like Black mental health is really important. It's important that we address it. It's important that we're there for each other and that we have these conversations. So I feel like Anxious for me, like my album's called Elevate, and I called it that because I was thinking a lot about the process of elevation, and elevation requires separation, separating yourself from things that are toxic to you. And for me, my anxiety held me back a lot. And so writing the song and releasing it was really releasing it and finally dealing with it. It's like I can never tell myself again, but I don't suffer from anxiety once I release this song, you know? But until I did that, I could still back up and like, nah, I'm good, you know? I don't need to go to therapy. But now that it's out, now that it's there, it's a reminder for me that I have to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And then also for everyone else who's dealing with it, that we have to take care of ourselves. And it's important, and it's not, there's nothing to be ashamed about,
Absolutely.
you know? So that's what the song's about.
So this, and that song after
That's
that.
Anxious. And then Elevate.
Yeah.
So Elevate, the title track, it's actually, Elevate's really, it's really funny. So this song is about, you know, I'm an artist, and in this industry, like a lot of people who I meet in this industry, like assume that like, you've got to be like under some kind of influence to write music or to create. You know, like I write best when I'm high or when I'm drunk.
Or
and
have
like,
red wine or something
yeah,
like that.
or like, yeah. So like for me, it's like, that's not what it's about. Like for me, I don't have to be under the influence of anything to write good music, to feel and connect with my music, you know? So that's what the song's about.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Perfect.
Less heavy, but yeah.
Well, let's hear it up for Anxious and Elevate.
Let's do it.
Why you staring at my face for so long? Never thought home was a place, didn't belong. Want them close but push away, it's just wrong. Man, what's wrong? I'm wrong. Had me running from my dreams. Crazy folk do crazy things when they think you'll cut the strings. I know you're gonna leave me, baby. Don't leave me, baby. They all just leave me, baby. Please don't leave, please don't leave. I'm anxious. Look, I'm anxious. I'm anxious. And I'm afraid. It's frustrating that my mind never feels clear. I harbor, lift, and carry pain all my years. Prisoner of my fears, drown myself in my tears. Sometimes I want to abandon myself. I'm still running from my dreams, burning down all of my trees, then wonder why I can't breathe. And that's why you had me running from my dreams, still learning what they all mean, still learning what they all mean. I know you're gonna leave me, baby. No, don't leave me, baby. They all just leave me, baby. Please don't leave, please don't leave, don't leave me, baby. Don't leave, no, don't leave, no, don't leave. They all just leave me, baby. Please don't leave, please don't leave. I'm anxious. from the rooftops lately. Stargazing with the stars won't faze me. The life I live, my vision, is all a conscious decision. They ask me silly questions all the time, like how I'm high but haven't smoked or drink no wine. Open invite, you're welcome anytime. Now I'm asking you, do you wanna get high, baby? Do you wanna be high like me, baby? Do you wanna get high, baby? 'Cause we won't have to twist up nothing. I know you wanna be high, baby. Do you wanna be high like me, baby? Do you wanna be high, baby? 'Cause we won't have to smoke on nothing. Not when you're with me. Oh no, no, not when you're with me. Not when you're with me. Only half drunk but acting whole crazy. Can you see me clearly? Was your vision way too hazy? 18 years old, I'm at the frat party. 20 years old, I'm at the trap party. I'm only me, I move how I move. I damn sure ain't the same, but I'm damn sure not a fool. Y'all say Gina, let's get lifted. I say natural high, come hit this, come get this. If you wanna feel good, if you wanna feel good, 'cause damn I feel so good. Hi baby, do you wanna get high like me, baby? Do you wanna be high, baby? 'Cause we won't have to sit on nothing. I know you wanna be high, baby. Do you wanna be high like me, baby? Do you wanna be high, baby? 'Cause we won't have to smoke on nothing. Not when you're with me. Not when you're with me. Oh no, no, not when you're with me. Not when you're with me. Oh no, no, not when you're high, high. High like me, high like me. High, high. High like me, high like me. Hi baby, do you wanna get high like me, baby? Do you wanna get high, baby? 'Cause we won't have to twist up nothing. I know you wanna be high, baby. Do you wanna be high like me, baby? Do you wanna be high, baby? When me won't have to smoke on nothing. Thank you.
Yes. So you leave Canton, Ohio, and then you come and get high in New
ma'am.
York. Tell me about that experience.
I come, rephrase. Okay, so leave Canton, Ohio,
So
come
you
here.
leave, and you come here to New York.
Yeah, I mean, I came, so tell you about that experience. Okay, got you. It was different. Like, I came here, I think, so I came here when I was 18 years old. I literally, like, came out of the closet to my family, and then trekked to New York. I was out. I bounced. So coming here, like, to a place, like, at the time when I was in Ohio, growing up there, like, it wasn't even, like, safe to walk down. It's still not all the way safe, but
Right.
it was less safe than New York.
Right.
To walk down the street holding my girlfriend's hand. And so leaving Ohio and coming here, it was different.
Yeah.
And I had like an overdose of New York really quick because it was just like, I was hot in the city, you know? And learning a lot, like doing a lot, like just experiencing things I've never experienced before. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it at 18. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
But you came here for school too, though.
Well, I came here for school. School was the cover because, you know, like I couldn't just tell my family like, hey,
I'm out.
I'm going to New York, like, to pursue music and that's it, you know, but I can't. So school was the cover, but I really was not focused on school at all. I wasn't focused, not even close to the level I should have been focused when I moved here. It took a while. I went to school. I went to a couple different CUNY schools and like transferred, moved around, and then right before I was about to graduate, decided that the degree I was getting in English was not something I really cared about, and so I transferred to the new school and studied music there, contemporary music and cultural studies, and I loved that. And that felt like I was actually learning about the things that I wanted to apply to my real life, to my career, you know?
I want to step back into when you told your family that you were out, were they supportive? I mean,
oh no.
Was it like get out the house? How'd that interaction
Yeah,
go?
I mean, so coming out of the closet was, I mean, there wasn't a lot of support. The people who supported me the most, it took my mom some time. My great-grandmother, actually, and my grandmother were the two biggest supporters. Everyone else was pretty much, my great-grandmother and grandmother just weren't shocked. When I told them, they were like, tell me something I don't know, you know? So that there was no surprise for them, but for a lot of other people in my family, it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
I went to a church back in Ohio. A lot of people that I went to church with, super judgmental of me, weren't really, it was difficult. I felt like a lone ranger. I also I came to New York and I didn't have like a single friend or family member here when I moved here. I just moved here with $200 in my pocket. I paid for an off-campus dorm for the first semester, and that was it. And so I came here alone by myself at 18. So I'd felt like I was kind of like trying to fill like the space, you know, like I had a big void, just feeling lonely and trying to fill that space of people I didn't know in a city that you can't really, I couldn't trust people at that time. I was super young, and so yeah, it was rough.
What would you tell Tangina now from back then? What would you tell her? What would you tell her now, like how to deal with New York?
I would tell my 18-year-old self who moved to New York that situations that seem permanent are only temporary. I feel like there were times I get stuck in a super like depressive state, and I wouldn't be able to see further than that moment, you know? I thought that this was a permanent thing. I'll be here and I'll feel this way. I'll feel awful forever. But everything passed. And so I think back then I struggled to like understand that. Now, if I'm having a bad day, I know that tomorrow will still be a good day, you know? So
I want to say amen. I'm taking you back to church.
Taking me back in there. No.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
So
tell me about Brooklyn. You moved to Brooklyn. How is Brooklyn?
I love Brooklyn as long as I'm living in New York. I mean, I feel like I eventually want to live part-time in New York and part-time somewhere else. But as long as I'm in New York, I will live in Bed-Stuy. I love Bed-Stuy. I can't get enough of it. When I moved to New York, I moved to Kensington, that's where the dorm was that I was staying in. And then after that, I moved to Bed-Stuy, and I got an apartment at 18. Someone let me sign a lease with no credit, without any guarantor. I don't know why. I couldn't even pay the rent, but I moved there. And yeah, like I literally like lived on the corner of like Atlantic and Nostrand. Like back when Atlantic and Nostrand, pre-gentrification Atlantic and Nostrand.
Right.
So that's where I was at. Like, you know, calling grandma outside and like shots being popped outside right as soon as I walk out in the corner, that kind of situation. So I watched Bed-Stuy change, and it's a community that I'm very invested in and I care about. So now it's like, I remember moving here not really understanding gentrification, because where I'm, like, there was no gentrification in Canton, Ohio, where I was from. And so like trying to understand the negative effects of that, and not and why like everyone didn't see it as a positive thing was really deep. You know.
Where else would you go outside of Bed-Stuy? You said you would move somewhere else. Where?
Oh, I lived in just Bed-Stuy. I lived in Kensington before Bed-Stuy, which is in Brooklyn, like a really, I don't know, it's a different neighborhood, way different.
Yeah.
But yeah, like living in Bed-Stuy after that, I bounced around. I've like lived in every little corner of Bed-Stuy pretty much. And now like I found my one spot, and I've been there for 4 years, and like that's it. Yeah.
Does it help you with your creative process? Like, does your environment, does
Absolutely.
it matter what part of Brooklyn you're in?
It does, yeah. I mean, that's the reason
so?
why I feel like Bed-Stuy influences me creatively so much, because I'm literally walking the streets that people who I admire so much walked on, you know, like people who I admire spent a significant amount of time in the neighborhood that I live in. And so like these people come take trips to come stay in this neighborhood to be able to write music, and like I live there. And so that's,
It helps with breeding ground.
Yeah, it helps.
Well, I want to give you a shout out too for like graduating top of your class.
Shout
out to you.
Oh, you know my professor.
So how important is education how important is education for the creative process, period?
I think it's important. I wouldn't say that college is super important, but I would say that educating yourself in your creative field is extremely important. Luckily for me, like I was very privileged. Like I had a scholarship at the new school, and there's no way I would have been able to attend that school if I didn't have that. But luckily for me, I was able to combine, you know, both the education and the creative process together. Like I took classes at that school that I would tell people the courses I was taking, they're like, what? They're teaching that at your school?
Right.
And like that's what I was experiencing. So like for me, that was great. And like graduating, I remember like when I found out, actually with these guys, they were performing with me, that I graduated top of my class. I didn't know until like we got booked to play at my graduation, and we showed up, and like while we're on the stage, then they're like, oh, Tangina, you graduated with the honorary degree or whatever. And I was just like, what? Didn't know.
Wow.
It didn't mean anything to me at first, you know, until I was like learning about stuff that I actually cared about. And so I think educating yourself on that, whether it's like at a school or in the streets of New York, is super important.
Absolutely.
And I think that we all, you know, like people who are creatives, we all want to be great. We all want to do well. But I feel like it's important that you invest the time that you need to into your process, no matter what you've got to do. If you're a drummer and you want to go and watch the drummers in a circle at the park, you should. You've got to get that. You got to get that somehow. You know, like one of my favorite professors, Professor Wood, Aja, ethnomusicologist. She taught me a lot about like just recording your soundscape, recording that. And like listening to it, and I started recording like performances on the train, stuff like that, and just being inspired by all of that, and like incorporating it into even my album, you know.
Nice.
So that's important. Yeah.
Nice. So tell me about the next song that we're about to hear.
What's the next song? Oh, next song. Oh yeah. Okay. The next song is kind of it's a lovey-dovey song. The next song is a kind of lovey-dovey. It's actually about my early getting to New York at 18 years old, and like being able to be open about being a lesbian, and like meeting women, and being able to like dance with women in the club openly, and like being excited about that, and being a little messy, to be honest.
Hey.
So that's what it's about. Yeah.
Gotta throw a little messy in
So
there.
that's what it's about. And I wrote this song specifically because I feel like a lot of times I write a love song, and people ask the question all the time, like, is this song about a woman? Are you writing? And so this one I wanted to make that very clear, because I'm a queer black woman. These are parts of who I am, and so I wanted that to be very clear in this song. And I was actually really excited because I got a rapper on the record that I really love. I'm a huge fan of. His name is Eddie Vance, and a lot of times, like I've approached like hip hop artists about getting on a song with me, and I'm talking about a woman, and I want them to talk about a woman, and like they're like, I don't know, but he was like with it all the way, did the song with me, and it was great, and I love it. So
Okay.
it's a song.
Well, let's hear it.
I'm gonna sip a tea first. Ooh.
I love the girl, but her name I don't know. And when I hold her hand, she tells me so. It's not about our friends. It's crowded, but we're lonely. And my feelings when I drank need you to console me. You beside me here all night. Keep looking in my eyes. What I need is no surprise. Just kiss me before I die. Won't you kiss me before I die? I'll kiss you when you cry. Just just kiss me before I die. Let's just kiss before I die. Yes, I'm sleepwalking 'cause I'm gone, babe. I'm not trying to step to you the wrong way. Yes, I'm sleepwalking 'cause I'm gone, babe. And you're my dream girl, my dream girl. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See, I know love is not a puzzle, but the broken pieces of the heart to do the past is a rebuttal in my safe without the muzzle. Death do its part, open my heart. Do you dig me like I dig you? Anonymous the issue, so subscribe to my Bible. When you leave it, take it with you. I need love, baby, I need love, mama. I've been waiting cold, hearted, freezing all summer. I've been thinking more like melted igloos. I've been thinking more like moving mountains with a merit of passion. You know when imminence and romance in an orderly fashion, I can mount you to Kilimanjaro just to show you new heights. Had enough of what it could be, care less about what it should be. Pack and move my life, changing my state of mind. I'm not saying I fully know you, took a Rolex to approach you, but I can learn you in the same manner, 'cause these things take time. These things take time, oh. These things take time. Yes, I'm sleepwalking 'cause I'm gone, babe. I'm not trying to step to you the wrong way. Yes, I'm sleepwalking 'cause I'm gone, babe. And you're my dream girl, my dream girl. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, you don't know me. Swear you don't. No, you don't know me. Swear you don't. Ooh. Ooh. La. La. Dream girl, dream. You don't know me at all, at all. You say you don't know me. Thank you.
So the new album is called Elevate.
Yes, elevate.
Tell me about the songs on this album. They're pretty transparent about everything that you are.
Pretty much.
Tell us about the creative process. What made you choose those particular songs for your first?
I feel like, as I said before, I'm a Black queer woman, and I feel like there's a time in my career when I felt like, oh, I want people to listen to my music and like not think about those things, you know? Like I want people to listen to my music and just listen to it and like not judge who I am before they like interpret the music, you know? But I feel like at this point in time with the current political climate that we are all experiencing, it is my responsibility to be an advocate for all of the communities that I'm a part of and even those I'm not a part of. I have to advocate for a lot of shit right now. A lot of things, I don't know what I said. I have to advocate for a lot of things right now. And so that's what this album's about. I wanted to speak up about things that otherwise I wouldn't, or the old me wouldn't have. But I feel like there's so many things that have been affecting me mentally, you know, emotionally. I just got to talk about them.
Is there any fear about all that you're putting out there in this album? Is there any fear about any pushback with hip hop artists not wanting to rap with you on, you know? No,
not at all anymore. I feel like if you aren't with what I'm with, you're not for me. And it's simple. You know, I feel like I don't want to make music for people who have an issue with me being queer. I don't want to make music for people who are racist, who are bigots. I don't want to make. I had a debate actually in an interview recently, and like I said something similar to that. I don't make music for bigots. I don't make music for Trump supporters. I don't make music for people who support all of the things that are oppressing my people and people in general. And like someone, they posed the question. They were like, "Oh, are you sure about that?" And I'm like, I'm pretty sure. Like, oh, but how do you know that like your music might not like change their minds?
Right,
and I just
right.
feel like, you know, like people of color have been really oppressed in this country for a very, very long time. And I feel like it's no longer, if I feel like imparting some knowledge and wisdom on a person who's way more privileged than I am, then like great.
Right.
But it's not my job to. It's not my job. So I'm making music for people who feel like I feel right now.
Got it.
It's not my job. I don't have to take on. I feel like it's you can get in like those lengthy battles with like racists online. Like I've even gotten into battles with like racist white family members, and I've tried to explain to them all the ways in which they are racist and they don't get it, and I exhaust myself. And then I talked to a friend of mine who's white, who's an ally, and she's like, tag me on Facebook. Let me handle this. Like, I can do this. I'm an ally.
Right,
You don't have to like exhaust yourself anymore if you don't want to. You know, you don't have to do that. It's not your job anymore. And I feel like if you are an ally, to people who are being oppressed in this country, if you are really an ally, I shouldn't have to teach you how to do that.
Right.
And so if I don't want to, I don't want to. But if you want to listen and teach yourself, by all means, go ahead.
I was talking with, I was having a conversation with Sheila E., and she is very firm that she believes music could make change. Like,
yeah.
She's like, that's the change agent. That's what's going to heal us during this era that we're in right now. How do you feel about music and its power? Does it have that power?
No, I feel like it does have that power. I feel like it definitely has that power, but I feel like people who want to put that on an artist, like I don't know. I feel like my music. So on my album, I have a song called Matter, and on Matter, I'm talking a lot about. Oh, you heard Matter. So I'm talking a lot about. I mean, taking a lot of shots at Donald Trump, a lot of shots at a lot of people who are doing a lot of bad things in this world. And I feel like if I'm up to the challenge, and I want to, and I feel like challenging people who are doing really bad things in the world, then great. But I feel like for a white person whose experience, whose life and experiences are just so much different and so much more privileged than mine, it's not. They can't tell me that that's my job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I feel like if another black woman comes to me and says, T, I think that like you can change some things with this record, and I'd like you to do X, Y, Z, and join me on this in this movement. I'm down for that. But I feel like I'm just really over being told by the people who are in power, who are in control of everything, trying to control the way that black artists express themselves.
Amen
That's where I'm at with it.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
so
But she's right. I feel like she's right.
Yeah.
I'm with her on that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would rather hear that from Sheila E. than from. I don't even want to. Let's not throw a name.
Yeah,
out there.
yeah. But I hear you.
Than from Trump.
Yeah. So there's some collaborations on this album. Tell us about some of the artists that you worked with, and who did you work with?
Yeah. So collaborations. So I've got Crystal Caines on the project. Crystal Caines is a very dear friend. She's one of the executive producers on the album. She's a really talented artist. She's a producer, a songwriter, a rapper, an engineer, and she's the woman on the boards behind a lot of like your favorite top 40 hip hop tracks. Like that's Crystal. And so having her on the project is amazing. Working with her is always amazing. She's, like I said, she's a close friend. I also have Kenneth Whalum on the project, and he's dope. Kenneth is dope. He's a vocalist, he's a saxophonist, like actually multi-instrumentalist. Let me not like just put him in that category. Yeah, Kenneth is amazing. He plays with a lot of everyone's favorites. Like he plays with Maxwell, and Kenneth's just talented, beautiful, beautiful guy. I've got Nelly Furtado on the project, and Nelly. It's a dream come true actually to have Nelly on the project because Nelly's one of my biggest influences, always has been. And the way that I met her was just so random. We just met outside at a concert and had a conversation. I was kind of avoiding having that conversation. I was like, I don't want to be, you know, like, I don't want to be all up on her, you know. I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable, because like I was trying not to fangirl out. You know, I was like losing it on the inside, but trying to keep myself calm to not. Yeah, you know, you have a,
you gotta be cool with it. Be cool.
Exactly.
Be cool,
right. But Nelly kept finding me in the spot. Like, tell me more about you. I want to hear. And then when she asked me to shotgun a beer, I knew it was real. So we shotgunned a beer together, and I won, by the way. Nelly, I always bring that up. But yeah, we drank a beer together, and that sealed the deal. We went out, and she invited me to a session the next day. She asked me to hear my music, and I was super nervous about playing it for her. So at the session, I kind of like backed off. I was like, let me sit in the corner. And she's like, oh, T, I want to hear your music. And I'm like, oh, no, you're doing other things, you know, like, you're good. And she's like, no, I really want to hear your music. I was like, oh, well, you play yours first, and then I'll play mine, like thinking I can like slide out. But no, she wasn't letting it go. So I played the music for her. And on one particular track, she's like, I have an idea for this. You mind if I lay it down? And like inside, I'm like, yes.
Yes, Running Man. In
but to
session,
her,
right.
I'm like, I think that'll be cool. Yes, just why not? You know, why not? And she laid it down, and like the first take of what she laid down. I mean, she had a lot of stuff, but the first take, the very first thing that she laid down, which was like, it's interesting because she basically freestyled the hook on the song that she's featured on, and that very first thing that she recorded is what we used, and it's just like that was so amazing because Nelly's the first artist that I've like admired for my entire life, and I met her, and she's who I always like hoped that she would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that just like spoke. So it was such a true testament to her instincts, because her first instinct was really the best.
Yeah.
And that first thing that she laid down was the best. So yeah, it was awesome.
Nice. So there was a couple of songs that we had to take out of the set list. Let's bring one of them back. Which one are you willing to bring back that we could hear?
By the Sea. I guess you can bring By the Sea back. Yeah.
By the Sea. Tell me about that one.
Okay. By the Sea. It's a really interesting track. It's very alternative, the sound of it. Oh, nice. A lot of the tracks on the album, I mean, the album is, I guess people would call it alternative R&B. I don't really give myself like a genre, but other people do. And so what other people hear is alternative R&B. Some of the songs really are R&B. A lot of them are a lot of other things.
Nice.
This is one of those songs.
Okay.
And this song was, I wrote it after having a long conversation with my grandmother about leaving New York, being frustrated with my career, frustrated with like my group of friends, frustrated with just everything, you know, like not being able to like survive, like feeling like behind on bills, on everything, you know? Like New York can beat you down that way.
Right.
And so I felt really defeated, and I talked to her about just leaving.
Okay.
And so the song really is just the conversation that we had. Like the verses are literally things that my grandmother said to me. She always tells me, don't let people ride on your back like your Cadillac. Like, don't let people stay on your back. Like, get them off your back.
Well, I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
So let's hear it. Nice.
Where's this called?
Jump on your back like you're a Cadillac. Don't let them lay back like you're a Maybach. Just keep it simple. See, life's a rental. You gon' be rich though in the ways that matter. I'll always be here with you in all the ways that matter. Always know that you matter. You matter. I am gonna ride, gonna ride, hide, hide. I am gonna ride, Complex lives, complexities. Don't let them rob you of your dreams. I know they all seem nice. Protect your light. Don't trust them all. See through the lies. I know it's hard out. I know it's hard out here for you, baby girl. I know it's hard out. It's been so hard out here for you, baby girl. But you got it. I ain't gonna run, gonna run. Hide, hide. I ain't gonna run, gonna run. And you can't change my mind, no. You can't change my mind. You can't change my mind, my mind, my mind. Ooh, ooh, my mind. Ooh, ooh. When I was a little girl, all I wanted to be when I grew up was a big shiny star. And not just any star, but like the sun, warming people and brightening up all of their days. And I'll be a big star. I promise. I'll be a big star. I ain't gonna run, gonna run. Hide, hide. I ain't gonna run, gonna run. And you can't change my mind, no. You can't change my mind. You can't change my mind, my mind, my mind. Ooh, ooh. You can't change my mind, my mind. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Oh,
Nice, nice.
thank you.
So, the album is coming out next. When was the album coming out?
The album is available for pre-order tomorrow.
Tomorrow, correct.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You can go get that on iTunes, Apple Music. Go get that. But it's available for everything next week on Friday. So a week from now, available for purchase everywhere.
And then you start your tour when? Because you're going on tour.
Yeah, we're
correct?
going on tour in October.
Yes.
You're like-
yes. That's a round of applause.
You're dropping
Come
some,
on now.
You're dropping some
Get on the
surprises that my
road.
band doesn't
Get on
even
the
know yet.
road. Right. So you're gonna start in Ohio. Is that what you're
So
looking
yeah,
to
so
do?
I'm going home the day before the album release. This is not something that the band is looking like, what? We're dropping the day new and you guys didn't know. So it's on the calendar. Anyways, so I'm going to Ohio the day before the album releases to have an event and just do like an acoustic performance and just a listening party really for the album. The day before the album comes out, so I'll be there like when it comes, which is going to be awesome.
Nice.
Really like full circle because it's interesting. I actually moved to New York around this time 7 years ago, so I'll be in Ohio releasing the album after moving here 7 years ago on the anniversary of it, which is crazy. Yeah, so we'll start. I'm going to start there, and then we're going to be playing. We are doing a bunch of stuff in October.
Perfect.
But
Perfect.
yeah, one thing that's in New York that people have to come to is the Other Festival, which is going to be dope. That's like the first all-women's music festival, and it's in New York in downtown Brooklyn. So yeah, we'll be doing that.
So tell me about Control, the song Control, and I want to hear Control too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Control, I wrote this song actually. It was the first song on the album, and I wrote this song thinking about the power of addiction. When people hear it, they often think it's a love song, but really, it's a song that's about comparing addiction to your greatest love.
Okay, so let's go right into it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
must be life. Finally giving me light. I'm caught, I swear, oh me, oh my, it must be love. Cause he completes my sentences and looks past all the shit I did. It feels so good. We could have met beneath the stars in reality, but it's not so far. It must be love. It must be love. Cause I'm in control of you. And you control me too. I'm in control of you. And you control me too. You said that you could take me where I've never been, the one wish you could never grant. I sipped on the lies while you masquerade in all of your disguises. I'm not surprised that it all turned out this way, because my life somehow always stays this way. I'm in a constant state of shambles, youth and disarray, and all you ever wanna do is sit and kiss me. So damn it, 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 kiss me. Cause I'm in control of you. And you control me too. I'm in control of you. And you control me too. Control me now, control me whenever. Control me now, control me whenever. I'll control you now, because you make it all feel better. If we hold on, we'll make this last forever. Cause I'm in control of you. And you control me too. I'm in control of you. And you control me too. Thank you.
I wish we could talk longer and hear more of Tangina Stone's music, but unfortunately we're out of time. Thank you, Tangina, for opening up your soul to us, and thank you for gracing us with the purity of your sound. Be sure to check out Tangina Stone's new album, Elevate, wherever you buy or stream music, and you can keep up with Tangina Stone on Twitter at Tangina Stone, or on Instagram at Stone Blue, and that's blue without the E. I'm your host, Jodine Dorsey, and I hope you had a great time with us. Make sure you stop by our Brick House studio every Thursday to hear more of the best music that Brooklyn has to offer. You can also check out tonight's installment and past episodes anytime at youtube.com/BRIC TV, or check out our radio broadcast of this episode at soundcloud.com/BRIC Radio. Tangina, please feed our soul with one more song right after this.
there's some things I've been feeling ways about all the hate for you. Black boy got me, got us, got you. Why you let them think they're better than you? Questions on questions on questions I've got. Questions on questions on questions I've got. Questions on questions on questions I've got for you. Who's your mama? Where's daddy? Was you poor? Did your daddy drive a caddy? And when you're feeling all alone, who you run to? Run to. Black boy, why you scared to love? And black boy, why you scared to be? Why do you hate me? Black boy, why you scared to love? And black boy, why you scared to be? Why do you hate me? Descendants of kings, alive and breathing. Why shoot your own brother, disrespect your queen? I don't hate you, father, I do love you, brother. Why live in this cycle, perpetuate things? Now will you fight for our lives? Life should be parlous and lived in the light. Can we prepare? This shit is unfair, but it's all common knowledge, time to be aware. Questions on questions on questions I've got. Questions on questions on questions I've got. Questions on questions on questions I've got for you. Who's your mama? Where's daddy? Was you poor? Did your daddy drive a caddy? When you're feeling all alone, who you run to? Run to. Black boy, why you scared to love? And black boy, why you scared to be? Why do you hate me? Black boy, why you scared to love? And black boy, why you scared to be? Why do you hate me? Black boy, black boy, black boy, black boy, black boy, black boy, black boy. Questions on questions on questions I've got. Questions on questions on questions I've got. Questions on questions on questions I've got for you. Who's your mama? Where's daddy? Was you poor? Did your daddy drive a caddy? And when you're feeling all alone, who you run to? Run to. Black boy, why you scared to love? And black boy, why you scared to be? Why do you hate me? Black boy, why you scared to love? And black boy, why you scared to be? Why do you hate me? Black boy, 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 black boy. Thank you.